Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast. So I'm wearing my hood today because it fucking snowed on me and I'm just feeling some type of way about it. There was snow, there was hail, there was rain, and I got a weather warning on my phone today that there's supposed to be near zero visibility on the highways tonight. So that's great.
I'm doing a farmer's market outside tomorrow in this.
Yeah, it's supposed to be snowing tomorrow as well. So fantastic. Time to switch gears into 6 months depression season.
Because I've been really depressed the last 6 months.
Oh,
so
buckle down, buddy.
Yeah, word. Tyler,
you're depressed because you're overworked, though. Now you're just going to be like you're just going to be lazy and depressed, which is probably going to kind of balance out.
if you're not watching the video version of this podcast on youtube.com/votewillows, Tyler looks like that interview that Drewski did with Mario Judah, where he just like has his hood over his eyes and he's like,
yes.
Yeah. I don't want to do the rest of the interview because he says the N-word like really loud, and then Drewski's like, that's got to be racist. Hi, my name is Willows.
And my name is Tyler.
And welcome back to Alcohol Beyond This Point, the podcast where we lament about our depression and try to end it with some sort of business tip for about 3 minutes of the hour-long podcast. My life, I think, is finally coming to an end. I think I'm close to giving
You're
up.
peaking?
I think
You have peaked and now you're on the way down?
I haven't even begun to peak. Here's the thing: is that you never appreciate. You want like movies and TV and music. You want them to go out on a good note, right?
Right.
So I think I'm peaking and I'm gonna kill myself. Do you think like
That's
the amount?
mighty pessimistic of you.
Yeah.
Considering like the richest man I've met in the last year, or actually no, that's not true. Richest
Elon
man
Musk?
I've met in the last 3 months would be he's like, yeah, he's like, I started my business when I was 32, and it was like, and he was like massive company, like hugely successful.
There's
like,
a lot of most of the billionaires on the Forbes list are all.
Yeah, it's just interesting to hear it out of someone's mouth personally, like that was their perspective. I think he was like a realtor up to that point, so I guess he's kind of was an entrepreneur. Depends on what type of realtor you were, but sounds like he like saved up a bunch of money and then started a business when he was 32, and now is like the second largest family-owned business in his category in like central Canada. So
It's a trap. Don't start a business.
true.
I think everyone glorifies being an entrepreneur when really the thing you should do is kill yourself. This is gonna get flagged. This is like not. This is not suitable for
Just bleep
for advertisers.
Just bleep it all.
You have to unalive yourself in Minecraft.
Is that really how? I guess that is how advertisers function.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about like Behind the Bastards, which is like one of my favorite podcasts. It's pretty dark. They steer away from like they censor themselves on certain things that you wouldn't think is important. Like they'll like swear less than you would think. But it's like, oh,
well, as soon as you swear at all,
yeah,
you cut out like 75% of advertisers.
Right.
They just won't advertise with you at all. Any company that's on the like S&P 500 just won't throw money behind. Like I remember, what was it? Coca-Cola was a huge advertiser on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they just this was for more intense than swearing, but someone sent in a video of their ad before an ISIS beheading video.
Ooh,
on
nice.
like YouTube. Or no, I don't think it was a beheading video, but it was like a propaganda video.
Yeah.
That like didn't get taken down because free speech or whatever. And it was like, drink Coca-Cola. And then it's like, I was going to start singing in Arabic. That's probably a bad idea. But, and then they're like, yeah, we're just pulling everything. That was like the, quote, adpocalypse that happened in like, 2014 or 16 or something was when.
So they had no stomach for the internet yet?
Well, no, and I think a lot of them just never came back. These big advertisers just never came back to YouTube. And so a lot of brands just want to stay family friendly. So if you stay family friendly, which is like literally what it sounds like no swearing and keeping your themes PG-13 or below, which like YouTube does check.
Yeah.
They have like well, they have an AI that checks, but then they also have people manually going through these videos and like making sure you're advertiser friendly.
Yeah.
And if you're not family friendly, you get like the yellow check mark, which is like your ads are paying out 20% of what they should be. But they'll still pay, because some advertisers don't give a fuck. There's some, tobacco advertiser doesn't give a fuck if you're swearing.
Right.
But and then that's where like brand partnerships come in really big for like a lot of new media like podcasts and YouTube, like where people are directly sponsoring rather than just running advertising.
Yeah.
Because then a lot of brands kind of roll with the kind of outlandishness of it, right?
Yeah.
Like
I'm thinking about a lot of the podcasts I listen to is just by a couple of them are produced by iHeartRadio, and iHeart just advertises other iHeart podcasts as their ad space. Yeah. Which is interesting.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think right now. I was watching a Benjamin on YouTube. He's a stock trader guy, but he's funny. But he was advertising, and he's like, they know I love their product so much they let me say fuck in the ad.
Nice.
But and then Alcohol Beyond This Point alum Mr. Gigi, he always gets weird sponsorships from like, I know Fleshlight sponsored him one time. That was funny. And like, but like he's like a partner with Gamer Sups, which is like a competition to like G Fuel, and they just let him do whatever the fuck he wants in the ads,
Right.
Because they know it'll sell, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of modern companies have got to be like this. Because I'm thinking about like, what about like who sponsors like on Rogan, for example?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like they're drinking, smoking live, cussing, and they're like really risky shit.
And in the media, they're painted as
right
Nazis, so it's like they're throwing their advertising dollars behind that.
I mean,
right?
to be fair, you get like Black Rifle Coffee, which just is Nazis, but
yeah. Any fucking business that actively gives money to the military is like.
Yeah, no, I think there's Black Rifle's got some interesting.
Isn't that interesting? Do you see what is this? Do you see this? Jeremy's Razors?
No.
So it's a company that advertises them as the first non-woke razor company. So I was doing a deep dive on this the other day. They're basically, because I guess Manscaped and Dollar Shave Club are like woke. It's such a I hate the word.
They say such vulgar shit in their ads. I don't know how it's woke, but
whatever. You know what I mean. Maybe they paid
like super masculine ads.
Maybe they advertise on a black creator, so that makes them woke.
Oh, that's problematic. I see what you mean.
But anyway, so this Jeremy's Razors is like, maybe I should bleep it out so they don't get free advertising from me. But they advertise themselves as like, the non-woke razor company, and their ads are just so fucking like exactly what you would expect. Like if it was Ben Shapiro, autistic Adam Smith. Did you watch that clip? We get it. You love capitalists.
Yeah. I heard about a cell phone services provider company that's like making waves in politics because they're just putting so much money behind certain campaigns, and they're actually like direct action, like running marketing campaigns and like calling campaigns, whatever, like just like all kinds of marketing effort that they're putting in as a partisan participant. And their whole thing is we're a religious-based, anti-woke cell phone company. It's like, why is this fucking relevant?
Why does that exist?
Yeah, and that's just what they are.
God can hear you on the cell phone, I guess.
And they've got clout. Like, the stupid thing is, this shit works. Like,
yeah, it's interesting to like where businesses are taking like so I've always kind of been, I own businesses, and I don't ever take political stances with the business.
Yeah.
I take political stances personally because I think I know business owners that never talk about who they vote for, that never talk about what they feel because they're scared of alienating customers.
Yeah.
Which I balance risk reward. Like, I don't want to go through life not talking about what I feel.
Also, being someone that's not noticed and doesn't have opinions just isn't your style. So
Yeah, so I wasn't gonna be able to pretend
yeah,
to not join the discourse. But I never take a political stance with my business. But so it's interesting to see businesses based on a political stance,
yeah.
right? Like not even taking a political stance, but they are a political stance. The entire business's existence.
The cringiest part to me was listening to this guy talking about how it's cringy to me because like I've been through this, I've experienced all this stuff, and he's like, it's every decision we pray about, every decision that we make as a company, and like just talking about like, you know, if we're at a crossroads, you know, we give it to God, and it's like every time I hear that, my first thought is, oh, this guy's just grifting everyone, because all you have to do is say, well, God's telling me to do this, or I feel pulled to do this, or I feel, it's all feely, and no one can deny you your agency with that statement. No one can say that you're wrong. You are it. Once you've said that, you now have an infallible opinion, and it's like, that's pretty dangerous. I don't know if people really perceive how manipulative that can be. I'm not saying this person is necessarily being disingenuous. Some people, they literally just
some people have schizophrenia, and they think God is talking to them.
Even completely sane people listen to dead air, and their gut tells them something, or however you want to define it. Their subconscious gives them an answer, because everyone has infinitely running internal dialogue, and you can just select what you think God said. And
that's not a sane person. No sane person believes in God.
Hot take. I don't know. I think a lot of sane people fully believe in God, because not believing in God feels pretty insane. Like, not believing in the truth and reality of just randomness and life and meaninglessness, it's so much harder to swallow.
Here we go again. I think I'm in the Matrix. Everybody is so dumb and lost, and I feel crazy that I see everything for how it is.
I think people just don't spend any time questioning these things.
They think every couple of years I come back to this. I cannot believe there are human adults in 2022 that think there's a sky man.
But
I don't understand.
Think about the incentives to go along, and then think about the incentives to go against. And
but I just
if
don't
you are
get
a part,
it.
if you're a part of your community and your friends and your family and your spouse and your lifestyle and the things that you do and the places that you go and your habits, all those things are on the line if you ask questions. It's really uncomfortable to do so for a lot of people. And it's like, and then beyond that, it's gone beyond that to become like it's a part of your identity. And now to question it is to question your own identity and to question your own self and how right you are. That's what it becomes. People don't ask questions because they don't want to be wrong.
I know one thing, and it is that
that's
I know
why
nothing.
Scams work. Like, it's just the biggest scam. Like, that's con man psychology.
Yeah. It's
and
so
it works
hard.
incredibly well. Like, I don't know if it's coincidence that everything about religion is, if you were to be the best con man ever and just write the greatest con, it would have come out the same.
I guess people can do whatever they want, but I literally just
certainly
cannot even fathom like how you're trying to rationalize it. I can't even put myself in that position.
It's because you didn't grow up with it.
I did, kind of. I went to church when I was a kid, and even when I was a kid, I was like, "This is what are we doing here?"
Yeah, but did you ever really connect with the people in church and the people around you and empathize with them and try to understand them?
I don't connect with the people around me now.
Yeah, exactly. So you didn't really go.
Yeah, I guess not.
To church, you got dragged to church.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I went of my own free will.
I know you did.
And it's
and I often call you less than the average intelligence. So There's a plaque in my bar. I don't think I've said this in a while. There's a plaque in my bar that says, "This lounge is dedicated to the immortal memory of Tyler B. Bergen. What is it? Esteemed friend, colleague, and lover. 1995 to question mark." And then in parentheses, it says, "He's not dead yet. He's just an idiot." And that is
I forgot that lover was in there.
Yeah. There's a plaque in my bar that
People
says
are gonna ask
that.
questions with us.
Often, I hear people reading it on the way out and going, "Aw, wait," and then just start laughing and then be like, "Julia, come over, read this." Like, all the time.
Yeah, that's staying with the business.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna get it like, it's like just like in a plastic frame right now.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna get it like
A plaque.
a plaque. Yeah, like etched into.
I'm sure you can get a nice one on Etsy
Definitely, yeah. So I think that's my
or
plan.
Amazon even.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
Yeah. I think fuck it. Honestly.
Double down.
I think like I like putting my I think like what's the point of having a business if I don't put my fucking little dumb personality into it?
Absolutely.
I keep I always make memes for the business and I always send them to my partner. He gets the final say before I post them. And he cuts down like 80% of them.
Yeah.
Today I was gonna post one that's
And the ones that he says yes is like, I guess.
yeah. Today I was gonna post
Quote
one
Isaacs.
that was like breaking open a Snickers and it's a bottle of Shrugging Doctor,
Yeah.
and then like write a boomer post. It's like, "Beware, shared from another account. Beware, moms and dads. I found this in my child's Halloween candy." Like mimicking one of those like
Yeah.
people are giving your kids fentanyl
Yeah,
disguised as nerds.
The annual Fox News scare.
People are so dumb. People actually share these things thinking they're real.
Yeah.
They share articles about how Putin is a bumbling idiot and his military's blowing up his own planes. They share articles about how there's $17,000 of fentanyl given to a child in the form of candy for no other reason than
To kill him with so much fentanyl.
I guess like
That's so much fentanyl.
Every single thing. There's not a single correct thing on the internet. Like everything is wrong,
Including
and fake
this podcast.
and sensationalized. This has been a 2-year-long experiment of AI making a shitty podcast.
Fuck, like that's got to be one of my favorite things is that TikTok account that was just fake.
Yeah, there was a TikTok account that was just a programming student making an AI, made a fake face, fake voice, fake everything, and just tried to get followers and got a bunch, being like some hot girl. And then he was like, "Yeah, by the way, this is all fake. This person doesn't exist. I'm not even catfishing. This is just an AI."
No, I think it was a girl being a hot guy.
Okay, either way.
Yeah.
Um,
Or something like that. Pretty sure it's a girl.
we're very close away from deep fakes, like you not being able to even realize what you're seeing, like what if it's not fake or not.
Yeah, and we talked about this yesterday on our call, and I went on a bit of a tear. I don't know if I can get as excited about it today, but Rogan summed it up really well. He's like, I used to be afraid of deepfakes just crumbling the idea of truth and reality just through the internet, like Obama all of a sudden saying some insane statement. And he's like, I no longer believe in that because all you need is some Comic Sans superimposed over a 10-year-old picture of Obama and people will believe it's true.
Yeah, the bar is so goddamn low that we don't even need to sophisticated manipulate people.
Yeah.
They're so dumb. Do you think there's any hope? I think we need double COVID. What happened to monkeypox? I haven't thought about that in a while. What happened to monkeypox?
It's basically just something that affects gay people, so no one cares.
Oh, so you have to worry. I'm gonna censor that one. That sounded homophobic, but it wasn't. I love gay women.
No comment. Yeah, they found that Initially, I think it was kind of hopping around to whoever, and I think it still can. Like, if you're in close enough proximity to someone for enough time, you can pass it to them.
How does monkeypox get passed through gay sex but not heterosexual sex?
I don't know if
Is
they.
that- I
I don't
think
know if
this
there's
is-
been an explanation
Is this
for
just
it.
like the AIDS thing again, where it's just like it was definitely homophobic?
Yeah, well, I think that's why it's out of the media now.
Oh, because it's
To report on it would be considered homophobic because
Oh.
it's only affecting a certain group of people, and then to scaremonger about it, which is the only thing they know how to do, because the news isn't about informing you; it's about either making you angry or making you excited and angry. So yeah, they just don't talk about it anymore because there's no point.
people. I don't know when people started thinking the news was like impartial. Like it never
Yeah.
was. I think we've talked about this
Yeah.
before. Like it was the news was founded to be like
A tabloid.
mouse speaks for billionaires.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was just it was never supposed to be, and people used to read it as entertainment.
Yeah, journalism as a discipline is new.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. I guess like because investigative journalism, where do you put them in any other place but newspapers and the news?
Yeah.
Like there's no category, you know what I mean? Like
Well,
Yeah,
now,
but
now there's podcasts and Twitter and
but like
blogs.
go pick like Time Magazine's probably a good example, right? Like they're pretty impartial, and it's like stories of stuff that people have spent years writing, right? Like
Yeah.
like I would call that journalism, a lot of it, right? And but the newspaper was never supposed to be. It was supposed to be these sensationalized tabloids.
And people started calling it the news.
But
'Cause
they're
what's
all
new.
they're all owned by billionaires, and then liberals take it as like an impartial voice,
Yeah.
right? Like every single news source in the world is owned by these multi-billion-dollar conglomerates, $100 billion conglomerates,
Or people.
or people, and they're the top of they're fascists, like they're the bourgeoisie, and then they're saying in the newspapers that they own that you need to stay home because COVID is scary, and then the liberals are like, yeah, obviously we need to believe this, and you're a piece of shit if you don't. Like when did it switch?
I don't know.
It's like the hippies used to hate vaccines.
My theory on COVID is it kind of became something of a feedback loop. I mean, there's obviously incentives on behalf of people like Fauci, who's allegedly gotten quite wealthy on royalties from Pfizer and stuff, which is also not illegal.
Not allegedly. He has to disclose his shit, like his stock trades or whatever. Like,
Well, he doesn't have to disclose payments though that are made to him. He doesn't have to disclose royalties.
who paid? I didn't actually read the article. I just
Well, I heard an interview actually. Like he's
with him.
Yeah, someone asked him if he had received money, and he's like, "Oh, well, I may have received some money, but it wasn't a lot." But
Sorry, for what?
royalties for Pfizer sales.
How is he allowed to do that?
There's no law that says he can't.
Okay, well, how is fucking Nancy Pelosi allowed to make trades right before she passes a law?
It's because like he is the part of the government that he works in is so intertwined with private interests. There's no discernible line between government and corporations, because people that work in government immediately after retiring and doing something that benefits corporations gets a multi-million-dollar cushy salary job where they do nothing at this corporation.
Well, did you ever see that picture of this doctor in America, obviously, with like he had an entire wall of pens, and they were the branded pens of reps of different drugs that came to him. And there's drugs that work more effectively that he doesn't get paid to prescribe, and there's drugs that work less effectively that he does get paid to prescribe.
Yeah.
Like they're making medicine a commodity, right?
Yeah.
And to move more product. And it's this doctor, I remember this was like a whole expose kind of thing, and that's why he had the picture. Like he was like, I never fucking take the money. But a lot of people do, a lot of doctors do, and that's not illegal. At least in America it's not.
No.
But I mean, it should be, right? Like
Yeah.
we should just like
And then the alternate side, where there's only two countries, two developed nations in the world that take that allow basically uncontrolled, unregulated, not completely unregulated, but they allow marketing of drugs to the public. And because of this, the number one ad buyer of general network TV is drugs.
yeah.
And it's like, I guess I never really got to see this part of it because I don't get American TV, but you could be watching CNN and they're like, make sure to get your jab, brought to you by Pfizer. It's like,
How is that not
yeah,
impartial?
I
Like,
get it. Like, I fucking get it. And I mean, I have the jab. I wasn't excited to get a vaccine. I've never been like vaccine, I've never been super pro vaccine or getting jabs for shit that you don't like just out of fear.
you were coerced.
I looked at it and I was like, okay, well, I see the negative effects and I see the potential benefits that may or may not be true, and it's like the risk reward of this is, I'm like, odds are it won't affect me because I'm young and I'm healthy, whatever. I may eat my words one day, but odds are probably not. And the other thought is like, okay, well, most of the world is going to take these drugs, so if I'm fucked, everyone's fucked, and that's whatever.
See, I'm unjabbed proudly, and I actively don't hang out with anyone who's vaccinated.
Well,
Well,
you're fucked now.
Also, I'm a proud boy now. Also, I'm a communist. The other day, someone was asking me who I was voting for mayor, and I just deadpan, without even looking at them, said the end goal of communism is to abolish all hierarchy, and by participating in one of these fraudulent elections, you're giving credence to the exact hierarchy that we want to abolish. And then he was silent for like 10 seconds. It was like, are you a communist now? Or like, I'm like, I don't know, man.
And you'd be like, don't try and gender me.
So the reason why I got vaccinated was because I heard it made you sterile. And that's like, fucking vasectomies are expensive.
They're not, but
Oh, word.
lot
Oh, yeah,
of-
we get free healthcare. I always forget because I haven't been to a doctor in 17 years, fun fact.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to getting jabbed, and the apparently the jabs are set to kill everyone.
Yesterday.
Yesterday, was it yesterday?
No, well, it depends who you ask.
Was it the 10th?
Depends who you ask.
Was that viral post? Was it October?
Yeah, that was
10th?
October 10th, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, someone was like, my friend who works very high up in biomedicine says that it's going to go off on the 10th and kill everybody. I don't even know how you do that. We don't have the technology for like a time bomb in your body, right?
I don't think so. I don't think they could like remotely trigger something. I don't think
We
that
don't have
there's
the
a mechanism for that, because anything that could live in your body for that long, like, it'd be more about the fact that it's been within people's systems for so long, and like surviving in there without getting attacked by the immune system, without being
and
eradicated or
you would
breaking
have
down,
to have
and then also be receptive to like a 5G signal or something.
you would
like
have
that,
to
a radio
have
signal of some
every
kind.
single person not go wrong. Like you can't have anyone that fucks up, otherwise we'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, it's too impossible. It's too insane.
It's like in the waning years of the Clone Wars, when one of the
Yeah.
clone inhibitor chips failed, and he started turning on the Jedi, and then that almost unraveled the entire plot.
Wow.
Because he got like hit in the head, and then his like brain chip that was supposed to kick in later kicked in,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Well, what the fuck?" And then they like X-ray him, and they're like, "There is a brain chip," and then they were this fucking close.
Yeah, and that's
So like 7 billion people, how many got vaccinated? Fucking like 5.
optimistic.
Okay, 3 billion people have to not have their fucking 5G chip.
And not one
Not one has to.
not one doctor, manufacturer, researcher, government employee. Like, people can't keep fucking secrets. Like,
I always say, this is the line I always use. I can't get a flag football team together. There's no way you can get a conspiracy of 1 billion people to keep their mouths shut. Like,
yeah, like I was gonna say about the COVID craze. I think it's one of those things that just kind of becomes an insane feedback loop. Like, there's financial incentives. obviously at the top, but you don't create all of this out of financial incentives because that shit happens every day.
There's easier ways to make money.
Yeah, it's that combined with real panic and real shit happening in the real world. It's real people dying from a fucking disease that like you can't avoid catching it, really. Like, you can try to avoid it, but
Are you surprised you haven't had it a second
time?
time?
I have had it a second time.
When?
This March. From our party.
That was your second time?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I've only had it once.
Oh.
That was the only time I had it.
I got Delta and Omicron.
What? I don't even remember this, really?
I was down for like a day and a half.
I literally...
I got sick on a Sunday, and I was like immediately fine.
Did you tell me?
I don't know. Considering we see each other like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, I think I started feeling sick.
It may have just been fine.
Yeah, I started feeling sick on like a Friday.
I must have known, though.
And then I was like a little bit weird on Saturday. I was in bed all day Sunday, and then Monday I was back up and about and working.
Maybe my memory really is just fucked.
I may have not told you.
Okay.
Because I bounced back, but Carly was down for like 10 days.
Yeah, I've only had it the one time, and I was down for a day.
Yeah.
If I was still like on my computer, like I wasn't like bedridden.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've gotten it twice, and I've gotten jabbed and boosted. So it's
my mother has 5 shots, and she just got it again.
Yeah. Yeah, the shots don't fucking work. Like,
yeah.
Did she get like the new variant shot?
Yeah. Well, she got it right before she left on their trip, and then she got COVID while they were traveling.
Damn.
Yeah.
They just can't fucking keep up to this virus, man.
Yeah.
It's no like. It's hopeless at this point. You can't keep up.
I agree. Yeah, I'm kind of with the anti-vaxxers. Like, they were kind of right all along.
Not for the right reasons.
No, they were doing it because they were racist crybabies who were scared of needles.
They're just a lot of it's just contrarian views. It's not like I was right because I believed in the science. It's like, no, you just said that because in this one instance you want to say that, but like when you want to talk about something else that's, you know, purely scientific backed as opposed to all other views, and they're like, no, fuck that. Why? Like that's fake science.
Yeah, you need to cut off these people's internet for a year and then ask if they have any opinions on anything.
Yeah, true.
When they can't just regurgitate what Tucker Carlson says.
Yeah.
Did you see Kanye on Tucker Carlson?
I want to. I heard some interesting things about it. Can you please summarize
I didn't watch
it
it either. I was just asking.
Okay, what
I saw his Jewish tirade, though.
Yeah, I'm sure that was unrelated.
I'm sure it was. Yeah, well, he posted a picture with Candace Owens in White Lives Matters matching shirts. I saw a really good...
He's really trying to be white.
I saw a really good line that was, or when someone tweeted, was like, graduation gave the MAGA thing a pass. College dropout gave the White Lives Matter thing a pass. Like, Jesus gave this Jew being Hitler a pass. It's like he's running out of hits, though. Like, he doesn't... We can't keep... the fucking Kanye subreddit is so funny right now. Everyone's like...
the Kanye
you know,
subreddit, I love it.
You know, Green Mile, the gif where the black guy's like... Michael Clark Duncan's like, I'm tired, boss.
Yeah.
It's like, someone posted that in the Kanye subreddit being like, dude, like... I'm tired of defending this guy. Like, it's just...
That's funny.
Anyway, let's transfer here into the part of the show that we call Shot Caller, the part of the show where you, the audience, can pick the part of the show shot that we take. Today's shot was picked by Dylan. Thanks for sending in this Three Oaks rye whiskey from New Ontario Oak.
Wow.
Cheers.
That's my favorite kind of oak. From New Ontario. Woo. That felt like a big shot. Woo. That took a lot to work down. Ah!
New oak just means it hasn't had anything aged in it yet.
No, I know. It's being dumb.
Huh?
It's New Ontario oak. It's oak from New Ontario.
Want to start a province called New Ontario?
Yes. And it's just currently Ontario, but we're just going to annex it to be a part of Manitoba.
Ontario. Fuck, I was watching this video on YouTube. I forget the guy's name, but he does like, he always busts these like fake gurus and fake like real estate seminar people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like he busts them and like proves that they're frauds.
Yeah.
And he was like going over this kid who was like a Bitcoin scammer. Like he took a bunch of money from investors to like promising like 10% returns, and then was just scamming them the entire time. Was like, oh yeah, I'm a crypto millionaire and I'm 20, but he was actually just running a Ponzi scheme.
Based.
And he was from like Cambridge, Ontario. And this guy kept reading the court documents and kept saying Cambridge, Ontario, but he was pronouncing Ontario incorrectly.
Yeah.
Every time. And I'm like, how do you not know how to pronounce Ontario? But I'm like, okay, fucking Americans. But I was just like...
Yeah, it's a big place.
Every time they said it, I was cringing.
Like, Ontario is like Texas-sized.
Ontario's bigger than Texas.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's
Definitely
got a huge chunk missing out of it. I'm going to look up Texas...
Square footage.
Square feet, yeah. I'll just go landmass in like square kilometers. That'd probably be better.
Square inches.
Square kilometers, because fuck you, America. It's 695,000 kilometers squared.
Okay, put it on the screen.
And Ontario... It came up really quickly for Texas and not for Ontario. Oh, it's actually very close. No, it's not that close. It's 1.076 million.
Yeah, I told you.
So
Ontario's way bigger, almost double.
It's close to, it's like 80% bigger, yeah. Yeah, it's fucking big.
Called it.
But a lot of it's just like uninhabitable.
Yeah, you're uninhabitable. Your entire fucking face makes your life uninhabitable.
I'm pretty handsome. I don't
Sorry,
know what
I'm,
you're talking about.
You look like...
I look fine. I look like Twinkerbell.
Twinkerbell was exactly what I was going to say.
That's what I'm going as for Halloween. So
every so often Tyler has a good pun, and Twinkerbell was a pretty good one because
it inspired you to make a meme.
And then I photoshopped a picture of his face on Tinkerbell's body. It's called a Twinkerbell. It was kind of hot. We call Tyler a twink, but mainly because he is a twink. But secondarily, because
mainly because it's true. But also,
this one time, one of my employees who doesn't really know Tyler, like you just kind of see him in passing, like
yeah.
where we're like you're at my office and he's working or whatever, like whatever, doesn't really know you. And one time I was supposed to bring him a table or something out of my van. But you were going that way, so you're just like, oh, I'll just take it. So you threw it in the van, and you drove it to the office, and he wasn't expecting you. So you walk up, and you startled him in the dark. And he was like, it's Twink Willows, was his first response. Like, he didn't have to think about it. It was like, that's just what he calls you in his head.
Yeah.
Is like, he couldn't remember what your name was. So he's like, I don't know, it's like Willows, but a twink.
Which is funny, because we have, like, nothing in common physically. Except for the fact that we're white.
Yeah, I'm handsome, can grow good facial hair, dad bod, tall.
All the good things.
All the good things.
And I'm all none of those things.
And you're a Twink Willows, so I guess mainly just our personalities, I guess.
So I guess if you were a cute twink, you would look like me?
Well, he could have said like, oh, it was like Willow's twink friend, but no, he was like, it's Twink Willows, like if Willows was a twink.
Yeah, we really need to ask him about this.
No, dude, don't bring it up anymore. I don't want to see the inner machinations of his mind.
He's like, well, let me show you some pictures.
No, God. Now this is just the Making Fun of Wyatt podcast.
He didn't even say his name earlier.
Shit. This is workplace harassment.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, aside from the one time when we got one of your employees on here and harassed them.
We've gotten a lot of people on here and harassed them.
We don't do it enough, honestly.
Yeah.
We should do it more.
We just had a guest last week, so.
Yeah, that's fair.
We gotta space it out. I think we're the calm before the shit posting.
Yeah. If we get good guests that want a shit post,
We don't have.
like
There are no good people in the world, so there's no way to get a good guest.
I mean, I think it would be kind of fun to just get someone we disagree with, but at the same time, it's like anyone that I would reach out to that might actually like show up and be like, "Hey, I'll be in your podcast," and then you just rip them to shreds, or I don't know, yes and them the whole time. Or I mean, I guess most people I could agree with a lot of the time. You know, a lot of people have reasonable views about a lot of things and then are weird about a couple of things. It's like, I don't know if I want to just poison that pool of relationships and that person be like, oh, these guys like got me on their podcast and we're just assholes.
Yeah,
'Cause that's also not useful at all.
Yeah, we would run through our acquaintances real fucking quick.
Yeah, and even like more distant acquaintances.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if they decided to listen to other episodes of the podcast.
Also, like
just the experience
the recording studio is in my house,
which is fine.
I don't want to piss people off and then get them. They're like, know where I live.
Yeah, I guess so. It's fine.
It's fine.
You got guard deer.
I do have guard deer. Guard Winston. I miss guard Winston.
Nearly fucking scared me to death the other day. I was walking in here, and Willows lives in peak suburbia. Massive yards just on the edge of the city. And there's more deer here than people sometimes. And I was walking up the driveway, and there was a deer standing in the ditch, and I was like, oh, hello. Don't mind me just walking by, because it's like in the ditch, but it's still as tall as me. And it's just looking at me warily, and then there's like another one right next to it that I saw, and then there's another one behind the tree, and I'm like, don't mind me, guys, just walking by, because like if you freak them out, they can attack you and fuck you up. And then I'm walking down the driveway, like still looking at these things over my shoulder, and all of a sudden, like 2 feet next to me, another one stands up out of the grass. I'm like, oh fuck, and I quickly go inside.
I like them.
That was a little bit scary.
They're funny,
but. Yeah, because Willow's grass hasn't been mowed in over a year.
It's fine.
No, it is actually fine because it maxed out. Apparently, it's like a pretty rare kind of prairie grass that they're like, it's an endangered species or something that they're trying to bring back.
No. I was making that up so that if they tried to homeowner association me,
you can pull the eco card.
I could pull the eco card. Yeah.
But it's like it maxed out at like 6 inches or 10 inches long.
It was like knee high.
My favorite part is when I come over and I just see like all the flattened areas in the grass because all the boys are sleeping.
They lie in it. It's funny.
Yeah,
it's and we tried to plant a lot of clover.
Yeah,
because clover like chokes out the grass nutrients and like shrinks it.
Yeah, but I think they ate all the clover.
But you can see where it was.
Yeah, they ate all the clover. The grass just grew.
Only like half of it took when we planted it, though.
That's how it would be.
So
we planted a bunch of clover and none of it took.
Clover, lawns are a scam.
Lawns are a big scam. Lawns you have to water in a place where. Let me just say this.
I would never water my lawn.
Let me say this for the record, and if this hurts your feelings, good. If you have a lawn that you water, fuck you. Yeah. From the bottom of my heart, fuck you.
Agreed.
Because it is the dumbest shit on the planet. Can you like pull that out and put it on social media? Because
I can, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great for my clients that have sprinkler systems and pay lots of money for nice lawns. No, it's just if where you live doesn't want grass to be alive,
it won't have it be alive.
The fact that you are now making it be alive with human intervention means now you have a parasitic relationship beyond just being a person that's already a parasite. You have an additionally parasitic relationship for no other reason that something is aesthetically pleasing, but not even in a way that's necessary. There's options.
So there's
things that use a tenth of the water that could look just as good.
Grass doesn't even look good. It looks like you live on a fucking golf course. I hate the look of a lawn.
Grass is a status symbol.
Lawns were invented or became popular because lords were basically showing off that they had so much land that they didn't need to grow food on.
Yeah.
Because everyone was so poor, they needed to grow food on every inch of their land.
Yeah.
Because they had these little properties. That's like everyone had fucking gardens. Like Depression era, everyone had fucking their entire yard was a garden.
Yeah.
Right?
And if you're stressing out on grocery bills and you water your lawn, extra fuck you. Because
So-
you know what you could do?
so they were like-
you could plant vegetables in that motherfucker.
They were like, look how rich
and
I
cut your
am.
bills down.
Look how rich I am. I don't need to grow fruit.
Yeah. Do you have any idea how much food you could grow even in a tiny, like 10 by 10 front yard?
Have you seen these like
so much food.
Have you seen these like communal, these little neighborhoods? They get the whole block. Each house grows a different crop, and then they all share it.
That's awesome.
And it's like I watched an interview. It's like in California,
Yeah.
and it's like 10 houses in a row. Like one's growing like potatoes, one's growing like corn, one's growing tomatoes, whatever, and then they all take a tenth of it.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I don't even buy food.
Yeah.
Like, because we just have everything.
Yeah. Great, California. Good job. Like, that's using water effectively.
Well, California's the worst, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
just like one. Well, and then in America, not as prevalent here, but in America, something like 80% of homes are under homeowner associations that don't allow you to have gardens.
Yeah, which is insane.
And then I think I might get getting this wrong. I think it was Belgium. It was somewhere like that, like a worse country than ours, but like white still.
Yeah.
Objectively, was made it like illegal in certain neighborhoods not to grow food. You had to, if you had this big a yard, you had to have a garden.
Yeah.
But even like, I don't like, not just because I'm lazy, because I am, and I'll admit it off the top, I don't like cutting lawn, but like I don't like the look of it. I prefer, well, because like I have a farm, like my business is a vineyard, right? So obviously we cut the grass around where we have to work, but the rest of it we leave trees and vines and shit. Like I think that looks
Yeah,
cool.
there's a foxhole, there's snakes.
True.
But like the grass is cut out of necessity, and
'Cause
it
we
just
work
it
there.
was not planted there. It just was there.
Yeah. And we don't water it, the
No.
grass. And but I much prefer the kind of architecture with like rocks and like trees and shit.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
what I'm saying. Like there's a million ways to do it, and I think that that's going to be one of the first things to go in the next decade
because we're gonna have to water ration.
is lawns. Well, we're going to have to. This is already happening. Salt Lake City, they're going to make lawns illegal. That's the first thing to go, because the degree of water conservation, like they have like DEFCON 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. They're on like 2 or 3 now.
What, DeathCon?
Yeah, no, it's I don't know what the word is, but like there's a.
That's what Kanye thinks DEFCON is.
I know, that's amazing. DEFCON.
DEathCon?
Fair.
Or do you think he's big braining us and he knows it's DEFCON, but he's like giving us a bar?
I hope not. I genuinely hope not.
Anyway, continue.
You scared me for a second there.
Kanye is a genius.
I know.
Just so we're clear.
I know.
Oh, hold on. Right before we started recording, I saw this. Truth Social
Wow.
just got approval to be on the Google Play Store.
Good for them.
They were holding them off because they said it's just an app for far-right extremists.
No. That's not why they were holding them off.
Because the S-Pack was weird. I read the
article.
article.
It's because their hosting was a fucking train wreck.
Like, security-wise?
Everything was.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah.
Reliability, secure. It didn't meet any criteria.
So they just
it was below the lowest possible bar of criteria.
Any fucking app
And if
you have to,
Google
like,
says no, you know your shit's fucked.
yeah. Well, any app that you have to like change your API key or whatever to like get onto your phone, no one's gonna fucking do that.
No.
So as soon like that's gonna really help it. And then did you see Twitter's board announced that they're going to be changing their policies on permanent bannings to
Good.
be more in line with what Elon Musk's vision for the platform is.
Good. As they should. Like it's
And I'm just responding to it in all caps, like bring back Trump, bring back Trump.
the idea of permanent bans. It should be.
I like it.
It's
like exile.
as an idea. I'm not saying it's invalid as an idea. I'm just saying it's being used really poorly. Like there should be like an objective red line that like 80% of people could agree on.
Yeah. I guess
And if it drops below 80% of every single person agrees that this person should be banned, don't fucking do it.
I guess it's just because it's up. It's not up to the community. It's up to like one employee at Twitter.
Yeah, but they have data. They can poll this. They can figure it out.
No, I know, but that's why I'm saying it's bad because it's like up to like the discretion of one individual.
Exactly, but there should be a policy. But if they make a policy, then they remove the power from themselves, which is stupid. Because one of my favorite things to do as a business owner is, and we talked about this before, and we've done this. Oh, I'm sorry, it can't do that. That's against company policy.
Even though it's me and I set the policy.
I have to do this. This is company policy.
Even though it's me and I set the policy.
I make the fucking rules, bitch.
Yeah.
This is my policy,
CEO,
and it is
bitch.
because I say so.
Yeah.
Like, that is one of the most powerful things you can do as a business, and the fact that they're not doing it is really sus.
Well, and then here's a good example of this kind of situation being whatever. So shout out to Kazumi. She's a model. See where I'm going with this.
Put it up on the screen.
Yeah, you can follow her, Kazumi Squirts, on Twitter. I'm not kidding, that's her Twitter. But
Nope.
she, I first found out about her because she was on No Jumper, which is a hip hop podcast.
I'm sure that's the first time you saw her.
Then she dressed up as a banana, and
Nice.
she was using her vagina lips to talk.
Amazing.
No Jumper has a Patreon exclusive uncensored podcast you can watch. Shout out No Jumper. Coolest podcast in the world. But anyway, Kazumi got her Instagram permabanned.
Nice.
She had sex with a Meta employee, and he reinstated it.
Nice.
And that's like that happened.
Meta, where there's like 39 users.
Meta, the owner of
Metaverse?
Instagram and Facebook?
Metaverse?
No.
Sorry, I was making a segue.
But you shouldn't be able to do that, right? If you get banned from the town square and exiled because the community wants you to be exiled, you can't like have sex with one guy and he brings you back. You know what I mean?
That is how it works.
Like, it's corrupt. Like that. Like, objectively, that's corrupt, right?
Objectively, that's just how it works.
I'm not saying it's not, but
But hopefully, Elon has
elongated
ideas.
muskrat. Well, elongated muskrat said that like Twitter should never have been public in the first place.
I agree.
Jack Dorsey said Twitter should never be fucking public in the first place.
Yeah, we had a
He's
whole.
like, I sold out.
We had a whole episode about this, and I fully fucking agree.
He's like, the founder of Twitter was like, I sold out. I regret it because he
didn't need the money.
He's now done with it.
Yeah.
He's like backed off. He doesn't own any of it. He doesn't
Although
control
I
any
feel
of it.
like I think so. Here's a call. Elon brings Dorsey back into the fold. In what capacity, I don't know. Either a board member or officially as a part of the
I
company
think he's bringing
to restore confidence.
But he's bringing it private,
yeah,
so there won't be a board anymore.
of course you can have a board.
Well, I guess you can, but
any company that big is going to have a board.
I could see Elon.
Elon brings back Dorsey
Somebody was like, because he
to rebuild this company.
apparently like 50% of employees polled said they're gonna resign if Elon buys it, and then someone retweeted it and was like, you could lay off 99% of that staff and it would still be the same.
Yeah, and nothing would change.
Nothing would change.
Yeah, no, I think that's not wrong, and especially now because tech industry has been having mass layoffs and pay cuts.
Look at
and
the
they're
NASDAQ.
They're freezing all the hiring programs. Like that's been happening for a year. You don't think that they can immediately replace everyone that leaves?
Well,
100%. They'll replace
every
everyone
tech company
that leaves.
like was just grew to a fucking. Their stock prices were what 2,000 times their revenue.
Some of them a lot more.
Yeah, some of them a lot more we had the greatest bull run of stock market history, and now the chickens have come home to roost, to quote the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
And Meta, Twitter, all these big companies are laying off 25% of their staff and downsizing, and their fucking stocks are down 140% from all-time highs.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how, it is what it is. And
now Mr. Muskrat is stuck with overpaying for an asset like fucking crazy.
did you see he's raising the money for it by selling perfume that smells like burnt hair?
This is the first time I've heard that.
So he does this thing where he's like, I'm gonna sell.
The Boring Company.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell 100,000 hats for $10 or whatever it was
Because I need X number of
to
dollars.
raise like $2 million for the Boring Company, and he did it. And then he kept doing that in like increments where he increased the value of what he was selling, and then he was selling flamethrowers, if you remember.
Yeah.
Or specifically not a flamethrower, so it could get through customs.
And also because it wasn't a flamethrower.
Yeah, perfect. And yeah, so now he's apparently selling perfume that just smells like burnt hair or something, to fund his and he literally tweeted and was like, help my purchase of Twitter by buying one, and he sold like 10,000 yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, based. I think one of the things that has pissed me off the most about Elon is how he talked about building the Hyperloop, and then just absolutely killed all the development and bills that were meant to create a high-speed rail system, and then he just never built anything.
So
and never had any intention.
Here's where I am with Elon, is that I think he's a genius. I think unreputedly.
But he's also...
Hold on. So I think he is unreputably a genius. I think he is a...
Yeah.
You can make the argument, he doesn't invent anything. He steals patents. He he hires... Whatever. I think, he has a vision that his mind works differently.
I don't think he could have built... I don't think he could have accomplished what he has accomplished if he wasn't able to talk the talk.
I think surely his IQ is formidable.
Not just IQ, he is ingenuitive, he's
he's one
creative.
Of those, he's sleep on the factory floor kind of guy, right?
How smart do you have to be to lead a group of NASA scientists?
Yeah, I agree. I think he's
at least smart as the NASA scientists.
I think leftists give him a bad rap where they're like, he's just fucking, he doesn't do anything. These NASA scientists just fucking do everything, and he's stealing their ideas and getting rich off of it.
Yeah, but you think the guy that owns a rocket company is in the trenches designing rockets? It's no, that's not how that works.
He also doesn't give a shit. I honestly believe he does not care about the money.
Yeah.
Obviously, right? Remember he a couple years ago, he sold every one of his possessions. He doesn't own anything anymore.
Yeah, and I think one of my favorite moments is someone's like, well, you're the richest man in the world, and he's like, I am not.
Yeah.
You, by Forbes net worth calculations, maybe, but
yeah,
there's hundreds of people, probably thousands of people in the world that have more money than Elon.
And so those are the positives I'll say about him. I think the guy's funny, but I think he has, and this is why I'm kind of always empathetic towards him specifically, is because I have the same thing where I have these hyper fixations.
Yeah.
And then I get bored with it, and I'm like, nah, maybe it won't work. And I think but then he just has a fucking $80 billion, and he has a hyper fixation, and then he's like, nah. Yeah, I'm bored.
Yeah,
and then
the shit that
dumped, and then
that's fair. The shit that you don't follow through on doesn't clap back in the news.
No, yeah, the thing...
Just nobody notices.
I'll start a little project. I'll spend a couple $100, and then I'll be like, nah, you know what? I don't think it's going to work. Not for me. I got bored, whatever. Something else more important came up, whatever. I dump it. I lost a couple $100 and some time,
also,
whatever.
Yeah, to be fair, all the Hyperloop feasibility has failed miserably.
But Elon has will ruin probably people's careers and lives, and billions of dollars pissed away
over a tweet
because he gets bored, right? And so,
or because he's curious about something and tweets about it.
And so I empathize with where he's coming from.
Yeah.
But also, that's not you can't do that forever, because you're gonna piss the wrong people off.
The real problem is he just has too much power.
Yeah.
That's all.
And that just comes back to
long enough.
Capitalism gives the most power to not the smartest people, but the people with the most money.
Right, and then I think Bill Gates, case in point.
Yeah.
Give too much power to a guy who doesn't fucking deserve it in a place that he shouldn't have it.
Bill Gates was a great programmer 40 to 50 years ago.
Running a circumcision marketing campaign in Africa is not fucking relevant to one of the most privileged white nerds in American history. Why the fuck are you weighing in on these things? And it's while a lot of the like the fact that vaccines got to people that weren't white and rich is almost entirely thanks to Bill Gates.
Thanks, Bill Gates.
But and like malaria research and basically any disease that is currently being researched and pursued, or any therapeutics or cures to any diseases that don't affect rich white people, where there's like a big market for profit, any of that research is probably funded by Gates.
That's how I know.
There's a lot of good shit that's happened because of his
contributions.
Because of his contributions and his interests, but also he has entirely too much power because it's like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy where it's like if he's not interested in it, it doesn't happen. So it goes both ways.
People then say, well, the government should be doing that, and then I retort with, the government doesn't do that, though. They don't care about it, their people, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, like the government of Burkina Faso doesn't have $1 billion to throw at medical research.
That's how I know.
They're too busy trying not to get overthrown.
That's how I know that the COVID vaccine wasn't poison, because I, a rich white landowner,
was able to take it.
Was able to take it, yeah.
That's fair.
They didn't bring me aside and were like, bro, maybe you shouldn't, see that indigenous person behind you? Maybe they should get it. You should just go get a pint, buddy.
Yeah, the
fact that they didn't do that means it's safe.
The only interest that you could point to that would want that kind of result would be either it's like the Freemasons or the Illuminati, or like
Who wants to kill everybody,
like some make believe thing with some make believe set of beliefs and a make
the Georgia Guidestone said we need to get the population to 300 million.
Right, exactly. Some idea like that. You either have to attribute it to that and some grand conspiracy, or there's just nobody that would want this or need this, because anyone that would want this doesn't have the power or the wherewithal to do it. Because anyone that wants all of white America to die doesn't have the resources to influence the White House and Pfizer.
Like the people, these right wing.
It would be a self-inflicted wound, which is one of the reasons. Like when I was thinking about taking a vaccine, I was like, okay, well, think about all like the nefarious intentions, and I'm like, this would be one of the greatest self-inflicted wounds of like in American history. Like this.
I guess they could give themselves a different one.
Well, but that's not the. Why would they hurt their own population? Their own population is a cash cow.
I always see this. Tax cattle. That's what we are.
It's tax cattle.
I pay 50%.
It's tax cattle and cannon fodder. Those are the two things that we. Those are the two things that we can do for them. And being dead does not help.
Does not help. Yeah. No, I agree.
Like they're facing a population collapse issue. If there was infertility issues, that would only exacerbate the risk to the tax cattle and the meat bags that go in front of the cannons.
But I guess these conspiracy type people think that they're trying to population control us, though. That's like honestly, that's a prevalent.
If that was happening, that gives me hope.
Yeah,
to be fucking honest.
No, because then
if that's where this is going, I am more hopeful than I was walking into this conversation.
Because then like people like Elon though are tweeting that like the fallen population is like the greatest threat to humanity.
No, it's the greatest threat to growth and capitalism. And
yeah, because capitalism is based on infinite growth.
So let me go on a little bit of a tangent here.
Oh, God. We got to finish up soon.
I know. It's not actually that much of a tangent. It is a good summary. You know what? Why don't I just fold it into my business tip of the day?
Okay. Here, we're going to transfer here into the last segment of the show where Tyler and I give you a business or life tip that we are currently going through in business or life. Today, Tyler's going to start with his tip.
Thanks. That was very clean.
Thanks.
So, obviously, business growth is good, right?
I agree.
But
I'm a businessman who hates capitalism. That's my new Twitter bio.
Business growth is good, but when you're talking about, like, I don't know, rubber harvesting in the Congo, growth...
It's good. Wait.
Growth at all costs all of a sudden looks really gross.
Does rubber grow on trees?
Rubber is trees.
Huh?
Yeah, rubber trees.
No, those are wood.
Literally, they're called rubber trees. Look it up. Rubber wood, rubber trees. Mind blown, I know.
What?
Yeah, it's how it works. It's where all the tires came from trees. Anyways, just like businesses where growth is good, and therefore
GIG, growth is good.
Yeah, therefore must be pursued forever in
PF, pursued forever.
replicating for infinity.
RI,
growth at all costs.
Replicating for infinity.
Thanks. So when you start a business, what you talk about
so
is,
when you start a business, you just kidding.
fuck off. You talk about growth potential. It's like, what is your rate of growth? Like, who's your next customer? Like, it's always about growth. It's always about growing bigger. It's always about more. And in my line of business, that's fine because my growth is kind of predicated on the fact that there's a lot of dudes doing the type of work that I do that are just straight up dying. You know, they have now physically can't. They're retiring, whatever. Like, there's going to be opportunities opening up, and like my business can grow because other people are aging out. It's not that the actual industry is growing or the demand is growing. It's just that it's moving from a different generation into my generation, and therefore my business can grow while theirs shrinks. Like, it's nothing has to change. Like, the industry can stay static, but there are businesses that get
same kind of with like my industry and wine.
Right.
We're not growing the wine category. We're just switching what people are drinking from the big product to my
you're taking
craft product.
You're trying to take a barefoot customer once a year to buy your shit instead.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you get to a large enough corporation or enough whatever economic or market power, and you get to a maximum market saturation, like the most amount of people that will ever trust or buy your product, at a certain point, the only thing that you can do is grow the segment. You have to then grow the industry, and that's when the fucked up stuff starts to happen. And same with a country, where a country is formed on the idea of we're going to maximize the use of the assets that we have at our disposal. And then once you've taken all the land, think about like the American dream, like the American expansion across the land, and when it expanded west from New York and Boston and Cleveland, and it's just like people grew across the land, and it's just there was infinite growth. They were giving away land, and there was just all this opportunity, the American dream. And even in the 60s and the 70s, it was still early days, and there was all this opportunity because there's industrialization and whatever that meant. At a certain point, it kind of reaches its peak, and the growth has to come from somewhere else, which then becomes parasitic on another place, hindering their growth. And however you justify that, whether it's it's for the U.S., it's like military and ideological dominance in order to stay on top. So like completely disabling economies, destabilizing democracies, and then planting in U.S. corporations and, you know, military industrial complex, like contractors into these places is then good for revenue, good for growth, because they can extract value out of it. They can extract money out of the taxpayers for this whatever just cause. Oh, we're bringing democracy over to this motherfucker. Now, expansion becomes really destructive and nefarious. And it just gets worse and worse, and it gets bigger and bigger. And like the biggest existential threat is when the home base actually goes from like it was growing and then it was maintaining and now it's shrinking. And it's like, how do you continue infinite growth in something that has reached its kind of natural climax? And nobody, like, when have you ever heard someone say, we've reached a pretty good point, I think we can stop growing now. We can just maintain at this level and everything would be really good. We can optimize. Everyone can be happier. When did a corporation say, you know what, we have gotten all the customers we can reasonably get. We have reached all the people we can serve. We have solved all the problem that our corporation was built to solve has been solved. Let's make this more efficient. And you know what? Everybody that works in the company, now that we've reached this level of efficiency, we needed 1,000 people to do this job. Now we only need like 800. But instead of laying off 200 people, we're just going to have 1,000 people work 20% less and take home the same pay because the output's the same. Everyone, it's good. Like, we've reached this point, everyone wins. Like, there's a sunset to this story. There is a finish line. That's not like that. Just me saying that's a fucking fantasy. Everyone's like, wow, can you imagine if the company I worked for just like I just worked gradually less over time and got paid the same or paid more over time just because we were doing better. Like,
a lot of the speculation,
it's impossible.
A lot of the speculation for when capitalism, like post World War II, when they were like looking at capitalism in the future, where they're like, well, this is an infinitely a system based on infinite growth in a finite world. A lot of where the conclusion came was, well, automation would then eventually solve capitalism, and we wouldn't have to grow anymore because robots would be doing everything. But now
capitalism is not going soft into that dark night because it fucking wants some growth, baby.
Well, and it's funny because it's been perverted to the point where like automation just helps you improve your profit margin.
Right.
It doesn't help reduce anyone's hours. Right.
It doesn't improve anyone. It doesn't improve anyone's well-being or life except for the guy that owns the company.
Someone said, some great economist wrote that by around this time we'd be working 18 hours a week.
Yeah.
Because automation would have solved everything else.
Reasonably we could, yeah. Like, I think about this a lot because I'm like, if I worked less hours in a week, just less people would get their houses built.
Yeah.
And like, that is not a reasonable solution. But also the reality is like, there's a ton of excess in housing. There's a ton of excess in everything, and that's what profit is. Profit is excess, and the excess then gets siphoned off and forever held. And like the idea of Reaganomics, the trickle-down economy, is like, oh, you know, this guy becomes a millionaire, but the millionaire is going to spend his money somewhere. He's got to buy his Ferrari. Somebody's got to build that Ferrari, and like all those people are going to get paid along the way. But those people don't ever spend 100% of their money, and the money that does get spent is taxed.
Also,
and the people that earn it,
50% of it goes to taxes.
Yeah, and the people that earn it get taxed, and everything gets taxed, and it goes to the top. And where does the money at the top go? It stays up there.
Yeah.
A token amount goes down so you don't riot, but most of it stays at the top. Like, it's just...
So what's your tip?
So my tip is... I'm not quite done the rant, though.
Ugh.
So... It's become fucking blatantly apparent to me. Like, this is the Willows and his Matrix breaking moment with Biden.
It was Joe Biden that put me over the edge.
Yeah. And for me, it was just another one of those moments where I was thinking about how everybody's got this infinite growth mindset. And we're all stuck in this system of capitalism that just has us chasing. So you're not ever paying attention to anything. The only things that you do have mental space to pay attention to are things that get you really angry, like the top of the list, top of the food chain, which is like the culture war issues. And we're fighting on these culture war issues because we have this kind of intrinsic, deep down feeling that something's wrong. Like everyone can agree on something's wrong. Something's not right. Something's not working. Something's wrong. Everyone can always agree on that. Defining what is and what's not right and how is it wrong, why is it wrong, you get a million answers. But the fact that something's wrong and something feels wrong and not as it should be or not as it used to be, everyone can agree on that. And culture wars is just the superficial way of kind of servicing that feeling where you point at a thing and you be like, that's it, that's what's wrong. And people are like, you know what, motherfucker, you're right.
When the actual answer is like, capitalism is what's wrong.
Right. What you're experiencing...
You're like, trans people, that's
right.
What's wrong.
You're experiencing late-stage capitalism, but the real problem is the woke mob.
Word.
Wokeism, woke corporations, woke Democrats, woke government, the swamp is ruining your life.
Swamp ass.
Swamp ass is ruining your life.
Word.
And will continue to. It's not literally everything else. They're giving you a fucking candy, and it's the dirtiest fucking lie. And I can't believe that I can see this so clearly, and it kills me because I know 99% of people never will. So, I don't know, my business tip of the day, right down to business, is if your only goal in business is growth, the good old communist question, at what cost? Really evaluate what's your industry, like what are you reasonably trying to occupy in terms of space, and how much do you personally reasonably need. Like, work within the boundaries of physical space and get your head out of your fucking ass when it comes to these fantasy numbers. I've seen business plans and proposals that are like, if half of these business plans and proposals came true, like, the world would be bankrupt, because like the amount of resources all these people are going to then have in their bank accounts would be more than is out there.
Yeah.
Like, get your head out of the fucking clouds and build a business that is reasonable and real and actually is going to be a net benefit to the economy and to the world around you. And once you get in touch with reality, boy howdy, you're going to be a lot happier.
You know what's funny is I was just thinking as you were ranting that if someone was like just listening to that, they'd be like, oh, this fucking left-wing podcast.
Oh god, you have no idea.
And I was just, to quote Steve Buscemi from Reservoir Dogs 1996,
Deep cut.
there's a diamond heist went wrong, and they're all accusing each other of who was the rat or what happened, right?
Yeah.
And they're arguing. It's like Michael Madsen, Harvey Keitel, and Steve Buscemi arguing. And then Steve Buscemi says something, and then he's like, "Well, you're on his side." He's like, fuck sides. What we need here is a little solidarity." And this is kind of like, I was just thinking that in my head, where I was like, these fucking left wing, and I'm like, we're not even left wing,
No.
and I'm like, we're not even right wing. I'm like, fuck sides.
Yeah,
What we need here is a little solidarity.
Let me just say, my entire let me mark, like, the entire point of this podcast is to mark in time our thoughts and and feelings and state of mind. Let me mark in time today my future mission, my messaging, whatever means that may take, is this is not a left versus right. This is not an ideological war. This is not religion versus agnostic. This is not anything else but a class war.
It's dupers versus dupies.
Yeah.
Wait.
And everyone's a fucking dupie.
No, I'm a duper.
You're a duper. No, you are a dupie that is slightly better than the other dupies.
No.
Because you still work for a living.
Shit.
That makes you a dupie.
Everyone works for a living.
No.
Alex Jones has got fined $1 billion.
Yeah, he's a dupie.
Sure.
If you work for a living, you're a dupie. And that's it. Like, that's the fucking line. And if my life's mission is to be able to define that line for people and make them understand that they are actually on the same side. Because the issue, you're right, something's wrong. It's not the fucking books that your kids are reading with little black kids in it and maybe a picture of a blowjob. That is not doing shit for your kid or your future.
Me and Tyler had unfeathered access to the internet at an early age. Well, maybe you didn't. You grew up religious. But I was on eFucked when I was 11 years old.
That's about when I found it, yeah.
It's changed our lives.
Well, that was you.
I was the host. I made the website.
Yeah, anyway, sorry. I digress.
My tip of the week is a life tip.
Oh.
It's if you're watching the video version of this podcast, you see a giant pile of parsley.
Oh, that's what that
on
is.
the table.
I thought that was weed.
And
are we gonna get flagged for marijuana?
Yeah,
it's just parsley.
So
dope.
I made a cocktail today.
Wow, it was good.
It was thank you. It was could have been better, but my bar's been running low. I've been saying that for a year and a half.
It's still not empty.
It was expensive gin with lemon juice, a little bit of lime cordial, and muddled parsley, basically,
And
poured over ice.
Soda water?
And soda water, yeah. And it could have used some simple syrup, but whatever. I couldn't be fucked to make any. I know it's easy, guys. Shut up. So here's my life tip. There's a bunch of websites out there that, and it works for cocktails, but also more probably relevantly to people, it works for recipes as well. Yeah. Where you plug in what's in your fridge, and it gives you a list of every recipe you can make with the ingredients you have.
Oh, that's sick.
And that is that was a great, like, when I was poor, like starting the business, when I like couldn't afford groceries, I was like, okay, I can't buy groceries this week, so So I'm going to. Good thing you saw the parsley because the video literally cut out right after that.
Sorry.
But I can't buy groceries this week, so I guess I'm going to. I need to eat what's in my cupboard, but like nothing. I can't visualize anything good. There's a website. There's a bunch of them. Just Google like, I have recipes. What can I make? Something like that. And or I have ingredients. What can I make? Whatever. And you just put in all the ingredients, and it gives you like a list from all these different websites of like contains all your whatever. And that really saved me a few times where I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but so there's a site that I was just on that you can do it with cocktails as well, where you put in what kind of alcohol you have, and it'll
Much
tell
more
you.
productive than food.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I'm not buying food. I'm on day like 30 of that, so that's.
Well, you could also be like, I stole this and found that, and what can I make out of it?
Yes. So anyway, but that's my life tip. Is I think that's a really practical thing for anyone listening.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna try that. Honestly, I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So we're going to take this one last shot, which is a half shot, and I topped up with lemon juice because I was just killing whatever was in your flask, which is getting really old. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, and that's still nasty.
Thank you for listening. Episode 89. Alcohol Beyond Sport.
And hit up our e-store for fresh parsley.
Yeah, if you want to buy some parsley, e-transfer me and I'll mail it to you.
Oh, with the cameras off. Winking at nobody.
Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast.